Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Honor the Land, presented by FanDuel on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Say, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. We kind of stayed quiet after the beatdown against the Baltimore Ravens. Let it marinate for a couple days. Thought we'd probably have a little less to talk about. We have way more to talk about. Before we get into anything, though, Zay, how was your week 2 outside of the game, outside of the massacre that was the Ravens game?
Yeah, I'm still recovering from that. I'm still recovering from this, I'm past the sickness thing. I was Saturday was it was almost like I could feel my body dying.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday came in and I'm like, man, I got to do a whole game. So I was almost kind of happy that it was away.
Yeah.
And then you mix sick with blowout and you have go Browns. And that's pretty much how I'm feeling. So, you on the other hand are living the best life. How was your weekend?
It was good. Friday through Sunday, I was also sick as a dog, though.
Really?
Yeah, it's something's going around. Something's going around
They
for
said
sure.
COVID.
We'll see. I don't know. But something's going around. People are getting sick. Felt great Monday. Went to Houston for the Bucs-Texans game, and we have to get into the Baker discussion right now. After I saw Baker on a 4th and 10 break a pocket that was probably like this tight, He had an unbelievable finish to the game. The Bucs win that game where they were definitely the better team, but you didn't think they were going to wind up winning it. There's been a lot of discussion about Baker Mayfield, the Browns, him being an elite quarterback. I want to start there because you talked about the thin line between a really, really good quarterback and an elite quarterback. You think Baker's truly an elite quarterback in the NFL?
You know what makes me so frustrated about this conversation is that over the years, you build a new type of fandom. Like new people come in and see your eyes. So they don't know what you've been saying years prior. I've always, even when Baker Mayfield was here and he was the love of our life, I always would say Baker Mayfield will never be that elite quarterback. He will always be in that fringe top 10 conversation. And when in doubt, you're not going to win multiple Super Bowls with Baker. But if Baker gets there, he can win you one. I've always been on that stance. But now it's come to that point where it's like, okay, well, he's done it for multiple years, this and that. But when we're, like I mentioned in a video, we're in this world where we use the word generational, we use the word GOAT, we use the word elite so freely that we forget we forget what that word actually means.
Yeah.
Just because I'm saying Baker Mayfield is very good does not mean that I'm trashing Baker Mayfield and saying that he's bad. I'm just saying he's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
There is a very, an obvious line when you look at it and be like, damn, this guy's just different than somebody, which is why Lamar has multiple MVPs, could have had 3 in a row, which is why Patrick Mahomes has multiple rings and has won the division every single year. We should know the difference between elite and very good. And unfortunately, Baker Mayfield's not elite, but he's very, very good.
I like that. Who do you consider the truly elite quarterbacks in the NFL? Let's just knock out the top 4. Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow. Who else falls in that category? Do you think anybody else?
Well, no, that would be it. And
Really?
I think you could really go I really think you could go even higher than that and just saying you can divide that. Lamar qualifies as 2 categories in my opinion. He's generational.
Agreed.
Because once Michael Vick was before him, right?
Yep.
Those are the only 2. But he's also elite. He has an elite skill set that he has. And Patrick Mahomes, I think you could literally clarify he's in his own category. And
100%.
despite this, and everyone's saying, well, have you seen what he's done this year? Have you seen the rings on his finger? Have you seen his resume? He's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it. What do you think? You seem to have a different opinion.
Well, I agree. I think categorizing generational and elite is correct. I think Mahomes is generational, Lamar is generational. I truly do think Josh Allen is generational. I think he is providing a prototype for a quarterback that everybody's kind of looking for. Elite, Burrow for sure. I think Justin Herbert's in that category, and I've been on that since the preseason, him and Jaden Daniels. I think it's too early to throw Jaden Daniels in there, and I think, again, the first couple weeks of the season, overreactions. I think people are overreacting about Jaden Daniels too, where he's in a better offense this year, and he's 1-1, put up 21 on a good defense, and then had a bad game against the Packers defense that's also pretty good. That's probably it. Hurts is tough. Hurts is tough because it's the Super Bowl MVP and all of the recency bias, but he just I don't know.
How I look at it? This is how I like to look at it. Everybody in the NFL has got a fresh start. You're looking at the draft pool. Who are going to be the first 10 guys taken? You can clarify those guys as the elite of the elite. When you look at the offensive line, you know the Joe Alts of the world, the Lane Johnsons of the world, and the Joe Thomases of the world, for our sake. When you look at the receiver position, you go straight to Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in a category of their own. When you look at the running back position, you look at Saquon Barkley, probably in a class of his own. Derrick Henry and Bijan Robinson are probably in that same. You can decipher it. I don't get why we get to the quarterback position and we try to force people into that category when it's just like, we don't need to do that. Think about the history of the football. Were we debating if Drew Brees was more elite than Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? It was always Peyton Manning and Tom Brady.
Yes.
And then you broke it down to the playoff side. Like, we need to stop giving people certain titles, and then when we don't give them that title, think that we're crapping on them, because we're not. Drew Brees wasn't Drew Brees is a tough one to say, but he wasn't Tom Brady elite, but he was a very, very good quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Like, is that wrong to say?
No, I don't think so. And I think he's a Hall of Famer for a reason, or will be a Hall of Famer for a reason.
No
but
doubt.
I want to run a couple quarterbacks by you. Like we talk more about Baker. I want to see if you think Baker is better than this quarterback. I know this is going to be tough.
This year is definitely tough.
Let's get the top 4, obviously. Are there any quarterbacks that you believe should be no debate better than Baker? Like 2 or 3 guys. I think Justin Herbert, Jaden Daniels, no debate.
I can get on board with them.
Honestly, Stafford too. I think no debate.
I think I can get on board with Stafford. And then and this is why it's hard having the stance that I have, because people think that I'm crapping on him. Baker Mayfield is in that 8, 9 category. It's not
tough.
Like I'm saying he's a 15th quarterback. There's not many quarterbacks better than Baker Mayfield right now.
Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield.
For what you want, I think that depends on the team.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I think that depends on the team. And it goes with Baker, too. Think about that. We keep forgetting he went to the Panthers and had an opportunity. Granted, it wasn't the best.
That's a very important point. Nobody talks about that.
Do you remember that offseason, guys? Seriously.
He stunk.
It was no, I'm talking about the perception. It was, he's got the best surrounding talent that he's ever had. Do you remember that DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, his weapons are better than what it was in Cleveland.
He stunk.
But he didn't maximize it. You know what I'm saying? Then he went to the Rams. Saved his career on that drive against the Raiders. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then he gets into the perfect situation. Obviously, he's being coached up way better than what he was being coached up anywhere else, and he is making the most out of his situation, just like Jalen Hurts is doing in Philadelphia. He doesn't need to throw 5 touchdowns because his team is so damn good.
Agreed. I think let's go rapid fire. I think there's a couple more hotly debated ones. Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield.
I don't watch enough Jordan Love, but I do hear Jordan Love has something to him.
Jordan Love is probably the last quarter.
I think you could flip them.
I would go Love, but I think it's close.
I think it's close, too. I think if you're going off statistics, you got to give Baker the nod, because what he's been putting over in these past 3 years is elite, numbers. But, again, elite numbers and elite talent is different.
Yep. Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
Okay. Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
That's where I have the most trouble, I think.
I don't have no trouble with that.
Really?
None at all.
Brock
Baker
Purdy.
Mayfield and Purdy shouldn't even be in the same conversation.
I don't know. I think Brock Purdy might be underrated. Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield, Baker. That's a tough one,
I'd probably
too.
give the nod to Baker. I think Dak Prescott gets a lot of unfair hate. But, again, are we talking regular season or postseason? Because in regular season, I think it's a very, very good debate.
I think it is a good debate, too. I want to finish with one very quick debate. We'll move on and talk a little bit more about Baker and the Browns roster and their quarterback position after this. But you said 10 players you want to just walk into one season with. Let's say top 4 quarterbacks, Myles Garrett. Who are the final 5 that you take? It's a great, great debate. Great question.
Well, you're probably going, and I imagine Parsons is probably in that conversation.
Oh, yes. Micah Parsons. I forgot about Micah Parsons. So those 6, yes.
I'm trying to think, who are the other top? TJ Watt probably falls in that conversation.
I would think Max Crosby before Watt.
Okay. Will Age play that? Or are they the same
No,
age?
let's say one season. Just right now, last NFL season ever.
Okay. And
Gotta
who's
win
the
a Super
top
Bowl.
corners in the league right now? Patrick Surtain's probably in that.
I don't know.
I
if
think you go
Surtain-
to the key situations, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if you're in that back half, are you going to take a cornerback that is shut down, or are you going to take Joe Alt, the best tackle in the game?
that's
You know what I
tough.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
there are elite players that you're going to have that choice of how you want to build your team.
Yeah, I like that. I think if I had to do it, top 4 quarterbacks. I don't not in any order, but top
Receivers.
4 quarterbacks: Miles, Micah Parsons, Herbert, I'd probably go Max Crosby. I'd probably go Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm. What receivers?
I'd go Jamar Chase. Yeah,
say.
That's where I'd draw the line.
Wow. So Justin Jefferson and Chase is that much of a drop off
Yeah,
for you?
no, not that. I think it's close. I'd want to get a receiver, but I think Saquon Barkley is a game changer. And if I have one more pick, like I think Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, there's so little that separates them in terms of who's better. I know both of them can get open. I know both of them are elite at the catch point. Who can make more out of nothing? It's definitely Jamar Chase. That's what
fair.
I would say in terms of that debate. But we got more to talk about with Baker Mayfield, the Browns quarterback situation, and the Kevin Stefanski offense up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. We just went on a Baker Mayfield tangent. We got to talk more about the quarterback position as it relates to the Stefanski offense, because if we're calling a spade, Browns fans look at Baker Mayfield like the ex that they always want back, that you can't do anything about, even though it's been years and years. Mm-hmm. You just keep looking back on it, the, quote, mistake that you made, but nothing's going to change in your life till you move forward and stop thinking about it. And the Browns have tried to do that with Joe Flacco, Deshaun Watson, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and everybody else in between who started a game or two. But they all fall under the Kevin Stefanski offense. A lot of flack for Stefanski's offense against the Baltimore Ravens, and honestly, rightfully so, right? I'm somebody who's come on here a couple times and defended Stefanski in the offense. It looked bad. It looked really bad against the Ravens defense that, looked bad against the Buffalo Bills, one of the best offenses in the NFL, but looked bad the week prior. What were your initial thoughts about the Stefanski offense in Baltimore that dreadful Sunday?
Well, as I'm looking here, we threw the ball 45 times with a 40-year-old quarterback. We yet again didn't establish any type of run game, and the leading rusher in that game just so happened to be a guy that didn't have a training camp, didn't play a snap in preseason, didn't play a lick in the first week, was limited throughout the week, and came in and still led the team in rushing with 61 yards, and our receivers still can't hold on to the ball. And, by the way, Myles Garrett should probably make $60 million a year. Dude is unfreaking real. That's what I noticed about. I'm sorry, I had to throw him in the offense because at this point, our offense is defense on this point. Like, it's so bad, and I'm just trying to figure out what are we hanging our hat on?
I don't know.
That's the $1 million question. What are we so hell-bent on? Because when you look at these numbers, right, I posted, I went down and I kind of did a deep dive of these numbers of why we are so content with mid, right? 2020, we were 14th in points per game at 25.5. 2021, we were 20th at 20.5 points per game. 2021, we were 18th in points per game. We were 10th, our best season in 2023 with Joe Flacco with 23.3 points per game. Last year, we were 32nd with 15.4. 2024 wasn't just bad. It was historically bad. It was so bad that it was the 12th worst offense since 1978. If you take out some of those Jameis Winston games, it is literally the worst ever. That is under Kevin Stefanski. We fired AVP. We fired Ken Dorsey. We fired Mitchell Stump. We fired a tight ends coach. We've hired all these guys, and yet our offense is still the common denominator. We bring in a new defensive coordinator. We're number one the very next year.
Yeah.
At some point, when is enough a freaking enough?
I don't know. It's a great question. I think the first 2 weeks have been weird. Before I say anything about the offense, can we just take a second to acknowledge what Quinshon Judkins did? It's pretty remarkable, and I can't remember who was doing the color commentary. Whoever was doing the color commentary for the Browns game made a great point.
Ross Tucker, I think.
Yes, it was Ross Tucker. You're right. Ross Tucker made a great point. He, who played in the NFL, Ross Tucker played in the NFL, has never seen anybody come in and be limited as a rookie, basically no padded practices, and just start the next game. He started. Quinshon Judkins started against Baltimore, which honestly gets me really excited looking down the line. And I think the identity of the Browns, you said, what do you want to hang your hat on? It has to be that run first complementary football, which we'll talk about a little bit later, complementary football, but it's so hard to do when
you don't do it.
when you don't do it, when you get behind the chains and all of a sudden you're forced to be a pass offense, which you don't want to do, and receivers are dropping balls like you talked about, the scheme isn't getting people open, and later on in the game when you're down by 2-3 possessions, you almost can't run the ball as much as you want to. So the best look at the Stefanski quote unquote offense, I think, was week 1, and that was without Judkins. You get Judkins back, and all of a sudden it goes haywire. I don't know what the Browns can do at this point to get back to their identity, and it's not like the schedule is getting any easier.
No, not at all. But what's frustrating about what you mentioned is like this is the same conversation that we had with Kareem Hunt. It's the same conversation that we had with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb would be doing the same thing, and we're like, well, why the hell aren't we running the ball more with him?
Yeah.
We were still looking at the depth chart, and PJ Walker was throwing the ball 35 times. Like, that is not a recipe for success. It doesn't matter what quarterback this offense has, he's throwing the ball 40 times. That is not how you do it. And then I want to just give a little credit. And it's weird. I'm kind of like, I'm going to mirror them because our Guardians are going crazy right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But isn't our running back position almost like the pitching situation with the guards? They always find a way to get that position. Like, we went from Nick Chubb to if Q's going to be anything like we saw versus Baltimore, I mean, you gave Jerome Ford the flag. You're not gonna have to do that with 10.
Mm-mm.
He's gonna be that guy. So I'm hoping that we moved from the offensive line being that strength to maybe this running back position. We go from Nick Chubb. We had a down year, you know what I'm saying? But then we luck into Q. I mean, Q, he's that guy.
He is that guy, and I think him complimenting Dylan Sampson is going to be very, very fun to watch. And
he's number 1, by the way. I
Yes.
forgot. We got to give Dylan Sampson his props. Imagine a 5th rounder being number 1 in the rushing categories. I think it's among rookies, or is it among the running back position? Is it rookies? I know he's leading something right now.
might be is it receiving yards?
Well, I can't
Because
remember.
Sampson didn't run the ball well in week 1. He barely played.
Maybe it's total yards from scrimmage.
Okay, that could be it.
It's something that he's leading
all-purpose yards,
all the
maybe,
rookies.
'cause
Something
he's
along
returning
that.
kicks. Okay, that's good to know. But
I know he was number 1 though.
the main factor here, and you talked about it, is there's a common denominator.
Mhm.
It's the offense. This defense is unbelievable, like unbelievable. But they're consistently on the field. The offense is doing them no favors in terms of field position. Special teams also doing them no favors. Outside of Corey Bojorquez, kicking game not doing them any favors. You have such a special defense, and all it's going to take is an average unit on the other side to maximize that, to let Myles Garrett go show us that he could walk in midseason and demand another blank check worth $50 million now that other people are getting paid more than him. All you need is some semblance of, complimentary football, which we'll talk about the Grant Delpit thing at the very end. But you need some semblance of that to maximize a defensive unit that's special. Like that, it's special outside of a position or two. It is special. And the reality is the Browns under Kevin Stefanski have not had that this season. They didn't last year, like you said, historically bad. So I got to ask, if he gets canned, do you think it's midseason, or do you think it's within the season?
That we talked about it on our BTS. Stay tuned for that on Big Play Network. But you have to see Dylan Gabriel. That's number 1. It's gonna rely on how competent or how bad Dylan Gabriel looks. If Dylan Gabriel comes in and the offense isn't moving, we're turning the ball over, we're still having trouble putting up 20 points per game, and the defense is still dominating the way that they're dominating, I don't know how you can look at that and be like, yeah, well, let's run it back one more time with this guy, when there has to be a line. Unless they just come out and say, you know what, deal with it. For the next 4 years, this is it. That I'd be content with that. If you're gonna just straight up tell me, no matter what happens, this is the guy, I'm fine with that. Because here's where my problem comes in. Let's just say Kevin Stefanski does make it through this season, right? He drafts his guy at the top of the draft next year. We go 4-12 again, 4-13 again, or 3 or whatever again. He's gonna get fired. Then we're going to be like, the coach that comes in is going to have that conversation where it's like, well, he doesn't look great with this quarterback. Is it really his guy? And then we're right back through the revolving door of, okay, well, now this coach has to go find his quarterback. And that's what I'm mainly afraid of.
Yeah, I agree. And that hypothetical makes me think that Stefanski's going to be given, again, a longer leash. I talked about this than people want or expect because, quote, his guy has been taken and he's a rookie. I think we're going to see Dylan Gabriel sooner rather than later.
Oh, yes, Hunter.
But not because of the Browns' record, not because of how, quote, bad. I didn't think Flacco was that bad this past Sunday. People are ready to pull the trigger on putting Dylan Gabriel in week 3. Let's take it. But not like you got to start a rookie over week 3 after that performance. No way. But regardless, what I'm saying is the clock is ticking on Stefanski. Because that's a reality, and the last thing holding up a potential move for a new head coach is his guy at quarterback who he drafted or who the Browns drafted in relation to what Stefanski wants, that's the final straw that may break the camel's back. You need to find that out soon. You get 10 weeks of Dillon Gabriel is very different than the last 5. 12 weeks is very different than mid-season with Dillon Gabriel. If you can fully understand to an extent what Dillon Gabriel can offer, what he can bring to the Browns offense, it's going to provide the most clarity you've ever needed with Kevin Stefanski. This is his guy. He wants to get the most out of him. Let's say he's good. Stefanski probably stays, right? If he's bad, that's all the more reason that they can move on.
But see, here's the problem where you said that the record doesn't matter, and I think that's where we have a divide. I think the record matters so much because of the players that you have in this locker room. I'm telling you, Myles Garrett threw a wrench into what they originally had planned into that offseason. And the fact that he came back and he signed that contract, and we talked about it off stream, where we've never seen this version of Myles, from the play on the field to the person that he is in the media to the leader that he is on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have we seen Myles Garrett gather the people on the sideline during a game? How many times I vividly remember asking Alex Wright, I was like, dang, I saw you in that. This was during the playoff game. You were the guy to do the huddle. And he said, he went up to Myles Garrett and said, we got to get somebody to rally him. And Myles told Alex, well, why don't you do it? This year, he's taking that initiative. So it's like, I think that it comes a point in time where we're going to sit here and have this conversation is this locker room with Stefanski? The record has to matter, because if Dillon Gabriel looks good, but we're 2-12 through those 10 weeks, you think the locker room's going to care that Dillon Gabriel looks good? No, they want to go out there and they want to win some games.
That's a great point. That is a great point. And I think the locker room is in a weird spot right now, and it's beyond Myles Garrett, too. Yep. We're going to talk more players up next as it relates to the locker room on Honored Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. We're going to talk state of the Browns roster. We just got off a locker room discussion talking about Myles Garrett, how he's feeling. You get the sense that there's a weird vibe in the locker room, because you genuinely, that Browns locker room probably feels like they should be 1-1.
Yeah.
And I honestly think they should be. And then the quote about complimentary football from Grant Delpit came out, where there was a report from, I believe, Daniel Oyefusi saying that in the Browns locker room, the Browns are essentially not forced, but encouraged to give each other compliments as it relates to complimentary football, which to me, 2 completely different things. But the Browns are now, being positive. Compliments are free in the locker room. Now,
hey, Max, you dropped this pass, but
good route, right?
Bro, you pancaked that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Good job, bro.
Which, you know what? To an extent, I think there's some truth in finding, the old adage that coaches always use is the film is never as good as it looks, or you're never as good as you look, and you're never as bad as you look on film. I think there's some truth to bringing people up when everybody's so far down, and vice versa too. But I read that, and Daniel Oyefusi is an incredibly smart and respected reporter, and I was like, I can't believe that. I physically can't fathom the Browns sitting in the locker room, giving each other compliments, and walking about practice 0-2 being like, yeah, we got it this way. Like, there's no way, right?
That's why is Kevin Stefanski a bad? Again, it goes to the line that you draw between elite and good, very good, bad, par, subpar. Like, is Kevin Stefanski a bad coach? No. I'm not that foolish enough to say that, no matter how much I like Kevin Stefanski. But is Kevin Stefanski a great coach? Hell no. Is Kevin Stefanski a very good coach? He can be. But where he lies is average at best. Like, on a good day, more good days than not, you'll get a average Kevin Stefanski than a very great. It's like a blue moon in terms of when that is very great. When it's very great, we can feel it. We're like, oh, this is the guy that we hired. But then we come back a week after that, and a week after that, and a week after that, and we're like, why isn't 10 getting the ball? Why is David Njoku not getting targets? Why is our offense not converting off of turnovers when we're in their half of the field? Like, we get back to that, and then we're like, but remember when he looked good? That's what we're hoping for. I'm just so done with it. It's too much inconsistency. Sure, the only thing that's been continuity has been our head coach, but at the end of the day, it's like, he's 40-44. His offense has never been in the top 10 category, and he sucks in the playoffs. So, like, what exactly are we doing?
It's a good question. And I think what's interesting about Stefanski and his coaching style is the last time he, quote, had the locker room, at least to the public eye, was 2023. And the denominators in 2023 were winning, Joe Flacco, and then a defense that was actually maximized. Like, I still do think that 23 defense is better than this one, but the gap is closing for sure. Like, this defense is really good, but it's not being maximized because there's no complementary football on the other side of the ball. Now, 2024, you could point fingers at everybody in the locker room and everybody would be accountable for something. Yeah. 2025, like, what are you hanging your hat on in terms of Kevin Stefanski? Okay, if he doesn't have the locker room, that's one thing. Maybe some coaches are not the best leaders as it relates to others. Sometimes player-led leadership is honestly better and more effective. But if that's not the case and he's not being like the leader coach that we
like
want
Mike
or expect. Yes, exactly. And then schematically, it's really bad.
And he's not calling plays.
What I don't know. I don't know where the positives are coming from right now. And
you know what it is?
What?
He's 2-time coach of the year, Max. Come on, man. But again, y'all, I'm getting worked up over here. But like the coach of the year, the 2021 is fair, but we also got to remember it was also kind of like a bubble scenario. The preparation,
it's real.
There were probably no better coach that you could have in 2020 than the Kevin Stefanski regime because of the analytics, because of how they can prep, because it is a more controlled environment for him. And then you don't have to deal with the fans. But then in that 2023 season, you can look at him and say, well, yeah, he went through the four coaches or the quarterbacks. He made PJ Walker look serviceable and win some games. And PJ Walker or DTR beat Pittsburgh in that year. But then the guy that really should have won it, who took, I believe the Houston Texans were 4-12 the year before.
Yeah, DeMeco Ryans.
He took over, DeMeco Ryans. He comes out and not only beats you, he embarrasses you on the biggest stage after you guys hyped up that playoff lead up so big and we were so favored to win and everything was in our way. And when the expectation was at its highest, we had never, that's what I wanted to get. I'm so glad I talked myself into it. Every time we set an expectation with the Kevin Stefanski team, we never even come close to it. It's always the years we have no expectation that we miraculously have some type of hope.
Well, here's the craziest thing. There's no expectations this year and there is no hope. So, like, there's a very clear overlap.
I beg to differ a little bit.
That's why on the expectations or the hope?
On the expectation.
Really? I thought there were no expectations for this team.
No, there had to be some sort. The Myles Garrett wrench is why I think the expectation changed. Because they told us before the Myles Garrett thing happened that Mary Kay was reported multiple times that they were hinting at a rebuild. Yeah. Like, you could tell. But the second Myles Garrett came in, that tone changed dramatically. And then the moves that they made after that kind of showed you that it was different. So, like, I just think that were we expected to be great? No. Were we expected to make the playoffs? No. Me and you could talk our BS and say that, but realistically, no. But when you come out and their defense is the only thing is your saving grace, and again, your offense for another year is the thing that you're like, well, damn, why aren't we? It's our offense. If I'm in the locker room, I'm looking at it and be like, when are we doing something with this offense?
I don't know. And I think at this point, it has to be finding out what you got in your rookies.
100%.
I'm not saying starting Dillon Gabriel week 3. I'm not saying that.
Week 5, though.
Maybe. But again, we disagree on why, but I think we do agree that sooner rather than later. I can't remember when you predicted
I think it's week 7.
And I said week 9 after week 10, whatever, the 9th game. It's probably going to be sooner now, just knowing what we have in Joe Flacco, the Browns season. I mean, the Browns play 4 straight playoff teams, guys. Like,
what if we win the next 2?
Then I think it's a completely different scenario because it's you're beating 2 of the best teams in the NFL. Not even split. Like, Packers, I think, one of the best teams in the NFL, and the Lions looked awesome last week.
So then that means that the expectation yet again shifts.
That's true. Yeah.
So this is why this is such a weird spot to be in, because they clearly thought Joe Flacco was going to give them the best opportunity to win, right? But unfortunately, the first 2 weeks he hasn't. Now, if he comes out, lights it up against Green Bay, we win that game, and then we go to Minnesota or we go into London and win that game.
No, Lions.
Or Lions after that.
But then Minnesota.
But I mean, like, you're gonna be like, hey, Dylan, it's your time to shine.
No way.
You know what
no
I mean?
way.
Like, we're gonna ride this thing out. Like it goes as far as Joe's gonna take us.
Yeah,
Essentially.
and I honestly think I'm operating on the assumption, we'll talk the Packers breakdown at the end, that they are going to get demolished on Sunday.
Oh gosh, here we go.
Yeah, we'll talk about it at the end. But you're right. And if the Browns can win a couple games, number one, but prove against some of the best teams in the NFL that they're capable of not only competing but winning, which we didn't see against Baltimore, then yes, it's a different conversation. But are we fooling ourselves right now?
You know what makes me upset about that Baltimore game? And we really didn't even get to talk about the Baltimore game at all. We should talk about that the next segment.
It was closer than the scoreboard for sure.
Like, that's why we say, what did you say? What did you just say about Baltimore that we didn't look?
They can't compete and hang around consistently with good teams. And
we were, though. Our offense can't compete with the good teams. Our defense can compete with these guys.
The Browns defense.
Derrick Henry's held to 23 yards.
Yes, I was going to say they can stop up. They can stop up the run on a run first team. And honestly, we'll talk Packers injury depth. If the Packers are without two starting offensive linemen again, I think they'll have success against the Packers defense. What really scares me are teams like the Lions.
High-powered offense.
I honestly, as crazy as it sounds, I think when they run into Miami in Week 7, that's going to cause some problems. Teams that have guys that are straight up better than you and faster than you on the inside are going to cause problems. I'm looking at Matthew Golden in this game against Cam Mitchell, Miles Harden. Whoo, Godspeed there. It's going to be a tough one. But regardless, we've got to talk about the Packers game. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but we're going to move to our Honor the Lay up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land, presented by FanDuel on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chefzay, and FanDuel is getting you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is here. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/bigplay to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Ohio, 21 plus and present in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Zay, we are beyond due for an Honor the Lay hitting. I love one line in this game, but if you have yours first, I'll let you rock with it. If not, I can go.
I mean, I have two that I really like, and it's the same player. I just don't have faith that Kevin's going to let it happen. I have more. This is a more faith in the player than the coach putting him in the situation to hit this. Quinshon Judkins over at 40.5 is borderline disrespectful.
I don't know that stuff.
I don't give a damn who they facing. I see what I see with Q. There has been no effectiveness in the running game. There's going to come a point in time where 1 week we're going to look up and be like, oh, they finally figured it out. Will this be the week? I don't know. But at this point, after seeing what Q did this past week, and on the limited reps that he did have, he's at least going to get, 10, 12 touches this week, 13 touches.
I would hope more.
Exactly. Yeah. I would hope more. And if he's going to average 4 yards per carry, I mean, all he needs is 1 20-yard run and a couple little handoffs here, a couple first downs. I think Q's going to make it hard for Kevin not to run the ball. So I like his 40.5, and I really like his 9.5. If anything, I like his 9.5 in the first quarter because if anything, they'll try to get him the ball early.
So you want to do 9.5 first quarter?
Let's do the first quarter. Let's do the first quarter.
I like that. On the Browns side as well, they're going to have to throw the ball. The Packers' run defense is very good, and the Packers sit in a ton of zone, top 5 zone team in the NFL. We saw it last week against Washington. A lot of quick passes, a lot of checkdowns. The Packers are allowing 75 yards per game to opposing tight ends, big 60-plus yard games in the past. Sam Laporta had a huge game against them. Zach Ertz had a big game against them as well. Harold Fannin Jr. is the guy that I'm looking at. Obviously, 48 and 63 yards in his first 2 games this season. His line is at 30.5 right now. 30.5. To me, that is, I think, the best pick. Honestly,
what's Njoku's at? You have that?
I do not, but Harold Fannin Jr., 30.5 to me, I think is one of my favorite picks across the slate the entire weekend, not even just this game, slate the entire weekend. Any Packers fans or anybody who wants to get on the other side who likes to do that, I do like Matthew Golden, longest reception. Browns are very man-heavy. I think he's going to wind up taking some slot snaps. We'll talk about the slot defenders in a minute here, but him or Wicks are the main slot guys. To me, Golden's explosive ability is there. Jordan Love just needs to put him on. Yeah, he needs to put it on him, and I think he will, to be honest with you. Jordan Love's a good quarterback, but the volume probably not going to be there for him, but I think the explosive opportunities will be in. For longest reception, literally all it takes is one.
I know we're going to get to Pat, but I have one more lock that you guys have to get in. I don't know if you want to do the interception, fumble recovery. We are creating a turnover this week.
I like that, yeah.
I don't know how it is, but you can figure it out. We are going to get a turnover this week.
I like that. You know what really scares me is the trenches on the other side with that, though.
Yeah.
I don't even want to I'm not going to put it out there. We'll talk about the Packers and their defensive line against our offensive line here in a second. Pat, you want to add in a pick?
Yeah, of course, guys. Honestly, Zay has a really good point with that defense, though, because Rob Watson just talked about it on the big factor. We haven't forced a lot of turnovers. I'm tempted to take a defensive touchdown, honestly. I don't know if I'm ballsy enough to do that, but the Browns have had 2 turnovers since week 13 of last season. 2 turnovers. 1 turnover per game in each game. But it's really brutal out here. I actually think it's going to be a get-right game for Jerry Jeudy. I think he's going to be so pissed about everyone. You know, he was talking a lot of stuff before the no challenges stuff, that type of deal. But I'm taking him anytime touchdown. I think he's the best Browns favorite, I believe it was plus 230, if I remember correctly.
250 now.
250 now. It's gone up on the FanDuel Sportsbook. But I'm taking Jerry Jeudy to get right here. Could be a little garbagey, but I think he's getting in the end zone.
I like that. Harold Fannin Jr., so I had 30.5 when I recorded my videos yesterday, up to 34.5. You can take
that's yours.
If you take that, Harold Fannin Jr., 34.5, Jerry Jeudy anytime touchdown, and then I'm going to pick you want to do Quinshon Judkins?
We can do the first quarter. Yeah.
10 plus yards in the first quarter, plus 1,035.
1,035.
You can do a little boost on there on FanDuel if you got one. Bonus bets on there if you got one. But that is what we were on. Obviously not financial or professional advice, but that is the honor the lay for week 3. We are so due, and honestly, all it's going to take is one of these to make up for all of the 0 for 3s we've seen so far this year. Let's talk Packers up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. And if you were to ask 10 people, are the Browns playing the best team in the NFL this week? I think 4 to 5 would say yes. This Packers team is no joke. They've looked really good with the addition of Micah Parsons. Beating up on Washington, another game, that score was not as indicative of how much better the Packers were, and they beat up on the Lions in week 1. And now they're coming off, which I think is the most overlooked thing here, a mini-bye, an extra couple days of rest, where offensive linemen have been banged up. New injuries picked up on the Packers offense, though, that we'll talk about. But regardless, the Browns are in a tough spot this week. This is a good team. I think it might be if the Ravens defense plays well, it's not. But if the Ravens defense and their secondary doesn't play well, this might be the best team they've faced so far.
Yeah. I mean, the Ravens are the Ravens. I keep saying the Ravens are the 09 Cavs. You know what they're going to do in the regular season. They're going to dominate. The questions come in the playoffs for them. So I think best, you have the debate, maybe hottest. This might be the hottest team that we've seen in terms.
Is definitely the hottest.
Definitely team. Right. So, I mean, you get Micah Parsons. That defense is going crazy. Jordan Love is looking like the guy that they want him to be. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough matchup, but you know where we can lay our hats on, and it's much easier to convince people of this now than ever before. Vegas, Vegas, and you know why I say that? We got a glimpse of it last night. There was no way in hell.
Yeah,
98% of the money was on Buffalo, and you tell me the Dolphins were making it competitive, and they covered on top of that. If you're a betting man, I know we're past the FanDuel segment, but the 7.5, I know we said last week
it's a lot.
Was a sure lock, and it wasn't. But I think this is the week where Vegas may give some teams some edges. We may get some favorable calls, and maybe we can turn something into nothing.
I like
or
that.
Nothing into something.
I think if the Browns want to do that, it's got to come on the offensive side of the ball, like we've talked about. And I think when you look at the Packers defense, it's healthy. You have playmakers really, I won't say on all 3 levels, but Micah Parsons is a game changer. And I think people overlook Xavier McKinney. I think one of the best safeties in the NFL, probably the best ball hawk safety in the NFL right now. That defense is no joke. And I think the Browns, if they want any chance, literally any chance, they have to stay ahead of the change. Quinjon Judkins has to touch the ball probably 20 times in this game. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Like, he's got to do that. And they have to make the most after the catch. Like I talked about, Packers, very zone-heavy team. You saw guys like Deebo Samuel making an impact against them because that's the guy that Jaden Daniels likes to check the football down to. Sam Laporta is the exact same thing in the Lions offense. He had a big game. Again, I like Harold Fannin Jr., but it's him, it's Njoku, and it's Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson has to be a guy that makes plays after the catch, and we saw it in Cincinnati when they sat in that soft zone for a lot of the game. It was Sampson, even behind the line of scrimmage sometimes, but within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, turning a 4-yard catch into a 12 or 13-yard catch because of how explosive he is. If the Browns want any, and I mean any chance of winning this game, they have to make plays after the catch because the catches are going to be there. The completions are going to be there. They got to make plays after it.
They need to yak, as they would say. I'm going to go the other end, though. I definitely agree with what you have to say, but unfortunately, we're at this stage again, and another year, it seems like, where our defense is going to have to put points up on the board. Remember last year? Rodney McLeod led our team in touchdowns through like the first 2 or 3 weeks.
I think it was
four.
I think it was 4.
A ridiculous stat. And I mean,
no, wait, you know what? He scored against the Eagles.
He scored twice. Eagles and Raiders.
And the Raiders.
So he led he led our team in touchdowns.
I think it was either week 4 or week 5. But that's a month, regardless.
That's crazy.
Yeah, semantics.
And I think we're at that position again, and you hear it with the Myles Garrett. Like when Myles Garrett came out and said, it's bullshit. When he said that, guess what he followed it up with? Our defense has to be better. The defense, it feels like that early stage in the Remember the Titans where it was divided defense and offense before that unity came and then everyone was together. It feels like there is a divide in the locker room right now where the defense is only focused on what they could do because unfortunately, and I'm probably saying too much because I don't think there's an actual divide. I'm saying in terms of how they're viewing it right now, the defense is going to try to do everything that they can to put points up on the board, to create turnovers, to give the offense literally a better shot, or what we say the coach should be doing, putting them in position to win. Because it's clear as day, our coach ain't putting our players in position to win.
Hasn't been so far this year, at least. That's for sure. And you know what? He didn't last week.
He didn't last
week.
He
did in week 1. I will say that he did in week 1, and the Browns should have won that game in week 1. On the other side of the ball, though, you're right. The defense has to step up. What's interesting here is the Packers have done all this the first couple weeks of the season and have looked, I'm just going to say it, bad on the ground with Josh Jacobs. Now, they don't have their starting, or hadn't had their starting left guard in Aaron Banks and their starting right tackle in Zach Tom. 2 very good players. Aaron Banks especially, very, very good player. Both limited participants on Thursday. You're not 100% sure if they're going to play, but assuming you get at least one of them back, probably going to run the ball better. But Josh Jacobs picked up an injury in practice. Would be shocked if he did not play, but picked up an injury. And the guy we really got to talk about here is Tucker Kraft. The knee injury, thankfully, not anything serious. But when you look at this week, not, a gloss over or get right game for Green Bay, but you look at this thing long term, how much do you want to rush somebody back from a knee injury 72 hours, 3 days before a game? I think there's a legit question if he plays this week. And that's probably the Packers' best pass catcher right now who would not play. And obviously Jaden Reed had the collarbone injury, the broken collarbone. He's not playing this game. Packers pass offense, if the Browns can stop up the run, it's not as good as Baltimore.
No.
The offensive line, it's solid. It depends on the starters. Again, there's so much opportunity for this defense to take advantage. There's only going to be a couple weeks this year where we walk into a game and we're thinking the Browns defense is actually matched up. Like, there's a tough matchup.
I was going to say, well, you mentioned Tucker Kraft, and who are the people that are usually guarding the tight ends? The
Packers,
linebackers,
yeah.
right? You know who's number 3rd ranked overall in coverage right now?
Devin Bush.
Yeah. Now, so listen, the Browns defense is one thing that I would put any offense up against our defense right now. I'll take it with a grain of salt because I know our secondary isn't great.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about as a whole, I would feel so comfortable going to battle with our defense right now. I have no problems with the matchup. I know our boy Ken Mitchell got absolutely torched last week. But again, our offense did our defense no disservice, and these games would be so much different if we are putting points up on the board. They'd be able to play and scheme up differently on the defense. Imagine how this defense is going to look when we finally get a lead. It's going to look different.
Insane.
It's going to be scary. So if the offense can complement the defense isn't going to have any, and we're already the number 1 rush defense. Tucker Kraft, like you said, is injured, and we do have better linebacker covers now. I like our defense against this matchup right now.
I do too.
It's the offense that's scaring me.
And this is the best defense the Browns This is the best defense the Browns are going to play all year. I'm just going to say it. It is. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, Micah Parsons, you had a good defense that was schemed up really well. I like Jeff Hafley, their defensive coordinator, a lot. You have the game-wrecking defensive end. You have an extremely solid front seven. Corners, again, not great, but they're masked by how much zone they play. They're very, very rarely asked to, like, okay, you go cover Jerry Jeudy. They're not really asked to do that. And then you have, again, yes, the best ball hawking safety in the NFL. Like, I don't think there's anybody better at finding a football than Xavier McKinney.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and I definitely think you're right.
This is the best defense they're going to face. I think Baltimore, at their best, can compete too. I'm trying to think, well,
Steelers, number 1 paid defense.
Nah, I don't know. But regardless, this is a tough defensive matchup. We're going to give our score predictions and players to watch up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chev Zay. We're going to give our score prediction and one player to watch in this game. Look, Zay, I know we just talked about the 7.5 number being a lot. I think the Packers outmatch the Browns. I think it's a bloodbath. I think back and forth in the first half, and then all of a sudden the Packers get a chunk play. Matt LaFleur schemes something up. They're up, let's just say up by 7, and Micah Parsons gets to tee off on an offensive line. Probably without Joel Bitonio, with DeJuan Jones, having the questions about staying on the field, and maybe without Jack Conklin. I don't love the Browns playing from behind. Now, if they can play from ahead or within a possession, this is going to be a good game. Can they get there? I truthfully don't know. I'm going to go Packers. I'm going to go Packers 23, Browns. You know what? I'll keep them within the number. 16. 23-16 Packers.
You have the Packers score right on my end. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Listen, I'm going to the game, so I'm gonna hopefully bring my kids' very, very first game. We gotta bring them in right. We gotta bring it in with a dub. I'm bringing in that positive mojo.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I think this is gonna come down to a lot. We're gonna need, and what are the 2 areas that we have suffered most this year? Special teams and offense. It's going to come at the hands of both of them. Our defense is going to do everything that they need to do up until the point where it is all in the hands of Big Joe. It's all in the hands of Kevin Stefanski. And then to win the game, it's going to be at the foot of Andre Schmidt. And we're going to knock out all these bubbles all at once. 24-23, game-winning lead drive after they come down and take the lead. So we'll have the lead. Green Bay and Jordan Love will come down. They'll retake the lead. It'll be 23-21, and the Browns will kick a game-winning field goal at the foot of Andre Schmidt to win by 1 point.
All right, on the spot, player of the game.
Player of the game is going to go to Kevin Stefanski.
What? You can do that?
Because this is why I say that. Only reason why I say that is because whenever Kevin Stefanski gets this, and I know we just sat on here and we bashed him forever, but that's usually when we see a response, is when it's like, oh, okay, let me remind you. And then we'll go back to the 3 weeks where we're like, what the hell's Kevin doing? But Kevin will do something in this game where the Kevin Stefanski truthers will run with it and be like, see, this is why you want him as our coach. So I'll give you a real player, though. Myles Garrett. Okay. He's going to be the player of the game.
I think Dylan Sampson. I think this mirrors Cincinnati's matchup where he's just going to have plenty of opportunities to catch the football. And, if there's anything, Bengals defense tackling-wise, especially not as good as Green Bay, but if he's producing anything like we saw against a similar matchup week 1, I trust him to have 50 meaningful yards through the air again. But those are our predictions. Packers-Browns, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, down by the lake in the brown uniforms. Will that affect the heat and the sitting of players? We don't know. We will see. But I like the uniforms. I'm excited.
I love them.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, so make sure you guys come on down. Well, I'll be at the game. We'll actually be at the Science Center, too. I'm doing the VIP Bulls Guy tailgate thing, which will be pretty cool. So make sure you guys come on in. And, we need as much Cleveland Browns hope that you can muster up because it could get very, very ugly after this week.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't. But we appreciate you guys watching and listening. Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. We will see you next time.